PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Hi, and welcome to PACTV Community News. We're excited to bring you another episode with stories from Pembroke, Kingston, Duxbury, and Plymouth. Tonight we bring you a story about a tap dancer from Pembroke who's not only amazing, but whose career is taking off.
PCN visits a new restaurant in Duxbury, a Valentine Gala in Plymouth, and we stop into a ribbon cutting for a new Kingston business.
We head to South Plymouth to see the new developments of the Wildland Trust Organization, and we head all the way into Boston for our State House report.
Town Talk brings Pembroke's town administrator to the set, and we begin the show at Hotel 1620 in Plymouth. Plymouth Education Foundation held their 7th annual Valentine Gala last weekend, this time at Hotel 1620 in Plymouth. Amongst the food, dancing, entertainment, and fun, they held the Adele Manfredi Excellence in Education Award Ceremony. This is given to a distinguished citizen who exemplifies extraordinary commitment to education in the past year. PCN stopped in for the exciting events.
Tonight is the 7th annual Valentine Gala for the Plymouth Education Foundation. Plymouth Education Foundation was established in 2008 to provide and raise funds for educational opportunities not funded by tax-based revenues in the town of Plymouth. So this is our premier fundraising event. As I said, it's the 7th annual gala. We always do it as a Valentine Gala. That's why we're here tonight, to raise some money and have a good time. Our overall goal, we've constantly increased the amount that we've raised over the last 7 years. So I would project that we'd probably raise about $50,000 for this gala, which is substantially more than we've raised in other galas, based primarily on sponsorship, but also silent and live auction that we have this evening too. The Board of Directors of the Education Foundation supports public education. We're dedicated to public education. Look at where our country is, what we do, the divisiveness that currently exists. One way to deal with that is through education. So we believe that education is not just classroom-based, it's also experience-based. So we're looking for new and innovative projects that we can provide funding for, like robotics, music immersion, or a couple of the programs that we've funded, as well as scholarships. We have $8,000 that we provide in scholarships for graduating seniors at Plymouth North and Plymouth South. So there are two $2,000 scholarships to Plymouth North, and the same number and the same amount for Plymouth South. That's something that we've just established this year. We've increased it to $8,000. Last year it had actually been $4,000. So the more money we raise, the more we can do in terms of scholarships, but that's an important component of what we do. We want to continue to increase that amount and have scholarships available based on the monies that we raised. Primarily, though, we look at programs that can be funded, not just the scholarships, but our primary focus is for programs that are innovative. I mentioned just a couple, but you know, we've done a number of programs that we've funded. I'd say over the past 7 years since we've started fundraising, we've provided, in terms of scholarships or grants, about $100,000 that's gone back into the community. We have both live auction items and silent auction items. So we've probably got around 40 silent auction items that have been donated by various businesses that people can bid on, but we also have some great live auction items. Red Sox tickets, Celtics tickets. We actually have a safari to South Africa that is one of the live auction items as well. So we've got some great live auction items, and that always has been a good source of revenue and donation for us. It's generally pretty lively bidding. The Adele Manfredi Excellence in Education Award is an award that we present at our gala on an annual basis. Adele Manfredi, who was the former chairman of the school committee who passed away, was one of the founding members of the Education Foundation. So we've established an award in her memory to honor people who show extraordinary commitment to community and education. This year's recipient is Pat Daly, who's the Executive Director of the South Shore Community Action Council. So we honor Pat tonight, who is a community advocate who will be retiring soon as Executive Director of South Shore.
You know, in the last year, the foundation has awarded nearly $16,000 in grants.
Yes, I know. Isn't that amazing? It's gone to a variety of different groups and organizations within the school system and education. And just want to congratulate Patricia Daly for her win of this award. And she was also the Chamber's Business Person of the Year.
Yes,
so
she was.
She's having a good year.
She's having a really good year.
Yeah, and she is retiring, so I've heard, and I think we're going to try to do a story about her. So
good.
Keep your eye open for that.
She's a very valued member of Plymouth and has been for a long time. Small business is the backbone of the local economy and a further indicator of how the national economy is faring. Well, we must be doing okay because we stopped into Kingston Car Wash to meet the new owner, and we welcomed them to the community along with the Kingston Business Association.
This is our official ribbon cutting ceremony with myself, my staff, and my granddaughter, Maya. Okay? Ready? On three. 1, 2, 3.
The importance of doing ribbon cuttings is to get the community to understand that there is a new business in the area, that they've come into the community, they want to be a part of the community, they want to serve the community, and you know, sometimes that isn't always as visible as you want it to be. So our participation is to get it out there on the wires, you know, via newspaper or TV, and to let everybody in the community know that there is a business out here and to take advantage of the services that they have to offer.
I love it. My whole life I've been building. I love building new businesses. I've built several businesses on the South Shore, from restaurants to nightclubs to ice cream parlors. And my new endeavor here is the Kingston Car Wash. The previous owner and his wife, Ray Tenori and Rita, were friends of mine back in Holbrook 35 years ago. And I was in the restaurant business for over 50 years. And Ray and I were talking one day, and he wanted to retire and I wanted to move on to something different. And here I am. We took over in October. Well, when we took over, we kept the staff. They've all done great. They're wonderful. I couldn't have done it without them. And they've helped me through the process with all the renovations and the remodeling and the advice. And they've just been fantastic. I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, well, it's kind of bittersweet because you have one business, you know, or family leaving, and you have another business family coming in. So we want to respect the ones that are leaving, and we want to welcome the ones that are coming in. We're a very proud association, and we like to be able to reach out wherever and whenever we can to those businesses in the Kingston community. We will be here to support Mike and his family and all of their endeavors to make them successful. And hopefully, you know, they will use the resources of the Kingston Business Association also to be a bigger part of the community.
I've been on the South Shore my whole life, and I know several people in business people in the Kingston area. I visit here in the summertime. I go to the beaches here. So I knew the area quite well, and I've had a lot of help from the local businesses. I love the challenge, and I'm looking forward to the future.
If you have noticed, the Wildflower Cafe in Duxbury is gone and a new eating establishment has taken its place, the Chestnut Street Grill. Longtime Duxbury residents and owners of Benchwarmer Pizza in town saw a need for a place where you can come in as you are and feel like you're at home. PCN stopped in one night to check it out.
Well, my husband and I saw a need for a business like this in Duxbury, to have a family-friendly restaurant where you could come as you are, and it was a very down-to-earth business where you could come in and have a burger and a beer or a cocktail and watch the end of a ball game. And so I call them Muddy Little People. So when we had Muddy Little People, we wanted to be able to bring them somewhere instead of having to leave town. So that was how the whole Chestnut Street Grill came about.
We love the location because it's the center of town. It's where everything is. We have gone to 6 days a week. We're closed on Tuesdays. But we decided to go more for the dinner and after crowd, which has been tremendous successfully. So we're looking to, you know, continue that success.
My husband grew up in this town, and so he's lived here since he was 10 years old. and we moved away for a few years when our children were very small, and then we came back about 18 years ago, and we've lived here ever since, and we've raised our 4 kids through the Duxbury Public School System, and we've been very, very happy and fortunate with how supportive people in this town have been with our business.
The community's been really good. It's something that I've always wanted to do, was have a small little local place that people could come in jeans and shirts and just hang out, you know, watch a few innings of a ball game. Kind of when you walk in the door, you know everybody, almost like a Cheers. It's really friendly, it's family-friendly environment. So that's the kind of the things that we were looking for. So we love it. The community has been so supportive, and it's just been a lot of fun for all of us. We wanted to be a little bit more than just your average typical restaurant. So we have all kinds of food. We have chicken parm, we have fish, we have specials. Our steak tips, our customer told us, are unbelievable. The burgers that we have are a 3% prime burger, so it's kind of the top of the line, and we're really proud of that. It's a great, great flavor. Kayla Gavoni, one of our chefs in the kitchen, makes all her own mayonnaise, her own spices, her own oils, and it just adds that extra little thing that you're looking for. And it's been really, really good so far. We're loving it. We're learning it as we grow, and we're getting better and better. Friendly staff, just a really good community bar that people can really enjoy. That's what we're looking for. It's just people come in and enjoy a few minutes of their day to set aside and just enjoy life a little bit.
For years now, the Pembroke School of Performing Arts has been racking up all kinds of trophies and awards. Now they've got one more thing to brag about. One of their students was selected to assist the choreographers for the television program So You Think You Can Dance. Did we mention that this dancer is only a junior in high school? We stopped over at the studio to meet this inspirational young lady and to get her story.
When Claudia started dancing, she was 3 years old, and she was a strawberry. And she loved the stage. She shined when she was performing, and it's that attracted the staff to her, the love of sharing. As she's grown, her interests have grown with her. She's a fabulous technician. She knows how to use her body to communicate well through dance. She's a gifted percussionist in tap. She's a sassy jazz girl. And that's one of the things that is special about Claudia. She's multi-talented. She can draw from her jazz technique. She can pull from her tap technique. She can be a beautiful, graceful ballerina. And it's not always easy to have that combination in a dancer.
2 years ago, I was accepted into the American Tap Company, and I got to travel to Germany for the World Tap Dance Championships. And we ended up coming in 6th place, which was really exciting. And last year, in 2016, I got accepted back into the company again, and I got to go back and made more progress. I got 4th place, and it was really life-changing because I got to dance with people from all around the world, and I got to learn from other people, and that was really incredible.
Here at Pembroke School of Performing Arts, we have a program, masterclass series. We invited liberated artists to come in. They came in, ran a convention, they saw Claudia, they saw what we see in Claudia, and invited her to be a dance captain for them. That has now resulted in Claudia traveling pretty much the East Coast, and she's assisting So You Think You Can Dance artists at various competitions, conventions.
I was really excited. I didn't really think about them picking me, but I don't know, I was really excited. I never thought that I'd be able to dance with people from all over the country and all over the world. And they're people that I've really looked up to ever since I was a little kid. So it's a really awesome opportunity, and I'm excited.
She is a role model for the younger kids. And in that respect, she's very nurturing and can instruct without task mastering?
I'm hoping to dance in college, so I've been looking for programs that I really like, and I've been looking at schools, and I hope to further my dance training in college so that hopefully this is something I can do for the rest of my life.
So cool.
I love
just
it.
love these stories. It's fun to see a young person and we do a story about them locally and then who knows where they're going to be someday and we
Right.
can like go, we knew her when and you were a tap dance
Teacher,
dancer
yeah, and a teacher, yeah.
teacher.
Boy, is she talented and humble and driven, and yet just you can tell she's the whole thing. She's a good package, and we're so proud of her. Good for
Yeah.
you, Claudia, and we hope to follow you in the future to see what happens.
If you've driven down Long Pond Road in Plymouth over the past several years, you may have noticed the transformation of the property located at 675. The revitalization of the property has been remarkable, but there are still many out there that may not know what is actually located there because they've never stopped in to find out. 675 Long Pond Road is the headquarters for the Wildlands Trust, and all are welcome to stop in and explore. That's just what we at PCN did.
The minute I drove into this property back in September of 2010, all I could think of was, what an incredible headquarters it would be for Wildlands Trust. It's, first of all, it's an amazing piece of property that needed to be brought back and protected, but also just from an operational perspective, it's within a mile of about 2,000 acres that we either own or manage as conservation land. So once we got the ball rolling and the family agreed to sell it to us, we had a lot of fundraising and a lot of planning, a lot of work with the town to do, but most importantly was for us to have a vision for what was going to happen here on this property, because the vision for this property is very much the vision for the future of our organization, where it's incredibly important for people to understand what we do and to appreciate the value that we bring to the community. And it's not enough to just talk about it. You can't just talk about it. You need to get people out to experience it. And that's what this property did for us. It gave us a headquarters where we could open up to the public, invite people in, have programming, offer trail walks, offer all kinds of training and meetings that we feel like the community really needs. This property wasn't nearly as open as it is right now, but there were some incredible features on it that we felt it was really important to try to save. A couple being the wonderful, iconic oak tree that's out in the middle of the field there. It's approximately 165 years old. And then the foundation to the old barn, which is out here as well. We actually did some work to see if we could place this building that we're standing in right now on that foundation, and the size wasn't right. So we abandoned that idea, but we still have a plan for how we're going to save that foundation and turn it into something useful. And then the other big thing is the water tower that was part of the original agricultural property here. And that water tower was where water was pumped up from Long Pond into the cypress barrel at the top. And the water from that barrel was used to irrigate the fields. What's really, really important is that the activities that take place in this barn are connected to our mission. This is not a building that is for rent. We're having programs and activities that link to our mission. We have an open space forum where we do a lot of training for people who are on open space committees, trying to help them to understand how they can create their plans, different ways they can get grants, how they do trail maintenance. And typically those meetings draw, 30 or 40 people. Those meetings will take place in this building. We know people love the aesthetic of this property. It's a very unusual property in the middle of a lot of forest, and then all of a sudden you've got these beautiful open fields and these really unique structures. So we hear that all the time, that there's people really enjoy looking down on this property. But for those who are inclined, we love to have people stop by. We have trail maps here. We can tell you how to get out onto some of our properties and also some of the town properties. And also we encourage you to come by and attend an event.
Here at PCN, we usually don't advocate our existence as a program to our audience. But believe it or not, cable access programming such as this one only exists because of legislation that was passed in the 1980s. As technology and cable subscriber numbers change, so does your connection to cable access programs around the Commonwealth. We spent some time at the State House to talk about some of the related legislation that's been proposed this session.
You know, when you're a legislator who files a bill, you know, you really can't do it alone. First of all, you need your partners out in the community.
Mass Access has been an organization for over 20 years now. We advocate for the rights of public educational government access across the state of Massachusetts. And this is our second year in a row coming to the State House, and it's significant this year because we are also have filed a bill that will require the cable companies to provide PEG channels in the HD tier, as well as access to the electronic programming guide. There's actually two bills that are filed, one in the Senate and one in the House. When our new bills pass, it will basically say to the cable companies that yes, you now have to place your local access channels on the high def tier, as well as make the electronic programming guide available to everyone so that they can find out what's on, when's on, record meetings, whatever, to their DVRs. Yeah, in the past, before high definition existed, we were on par with all the local broadcast channels. We were usually somewhere in the range, you know, channel 4, 5, 7, 10. Well, with the advent of high def, they've now moved the broadcast channels to a whole different level of programming tier, and we've been left behind down in the single digits where nobody rarely goes anymore. And we know we're not a destination per se, but yet people flip by us often to find out what's going on locally, and we want to be accessible. And the quality difference is huge. It's like, you know, if you're someone who wears glasses, to see the difference between HD and SD, it's like taking off your glasses and all of a sudden everything's fuzzy and blurry.
What you do every day is you bring the community into their living rooms, and you bring it in an unvarnished, unbiased way.
A good example of what the mainstream media does is, say, covering the recent Women's March. You know, they maybe devoted 2 minutes to something that was huge, where 175,000 people were right outside the door here. And that's the big difference between us and them, is that they'll give you a 30-second soundbite, but we'll allow the whole 20-minute story to be told, or 30-minute story, or whatever it takes. And there's just nowhere else to get that anymore. We let the people of our community tell their stories.
Town Talk today brings Pembroke's Town Administrator Ed Thorne back to our set. Welcome back, Ed.
Julie, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure having you. We're in the throes of February and the snowy season, and we're probably already all through with our snow budget.
Oh, absolutely. I think the DPW director said a year or two ago that it takes about $15,000 just to do the town once,
right?
And that's just sanding and salting,
right.
And then maybe another $15,000 to do all the plowing. So
right.
We run through that. When you had a storm like we had last week, you can go through that budget in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and all the towns are going through the same thing.
Right.
A couple really big things are going on in Pembroke. Let's talk about the 40B development that has been proposed off Water Street. There's been a lot of town meetings and hearings about it, and where do we stand right now with it?
Well, we've had about 3 meetings with the folks in the neighborhood, and including the developer. And he presented the plan, and the people that were in attendance, are obviously people that have a vested interest in it. And so like I said, we've had probably our 3rd meeting, and we have to prepare a response to go to Mass Housing as to whether or not the town supports the project or doesn't support the project. And if the town doesn't support the project, then you have to list the reasons why, whether it would be environmental, traffic, the condition of the road leading into that, the environmental issues, endangered species, the fact that the property abuts the North River, it makes it a little problematic in that. So all these factors are going to go and make a play for the report that we submit probably by the end of the month to Mass Housing, and then Mass Housing makes the determination as to whether or not the developer can go forward with his project, and that would entail having a series of hearings with the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, so once you've made your determination based on all the feedback you've been getting, and the feedback you've been getting from the residents and the people in the area is obviously they're not in favor of this.
That's correct.
This project, which is 68 units, proposed 68 units on the North River. So is it the selectmen that make the decision to support or not support it?
That's correct.
Okay, so the selectmen make the decision based on everything you've heard.
And at the first meeting, the selectmen, pretty much voted not to support the project at all, and to issue a moratorium, a one-year moratorium on affordable housing development. That's a separate issue. So, but right now we're required to submit this response on behalf of the town, and that's what our office has been compiling the last couple of weeks, and we'll do so for the next couple of weeks before our deadline for submittal.
And how long will Mass Housing take once you say yay or nay, we support it, don't support it? They could be months?
Well, I don't know if it's going to take months, but it's certainly, the ball will be in their court.
Okay.
And, that's when they'll be making a determination on our recommendation.
Okay, and if they say yes, we want it to go forward, then this developer has to go in front of our ZBA?
That's correct.
Okay, and then this whole process would probably start all over again.
Right,
Okay.
and there'll be a series of public hearings, obviously, with all the abutters notified. And, right now there's a petition in our office that's 56 pages long.
Right, a lot of people have signed that.
A lot of people have signed
Yeah.
it. So it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
what Mass Housing
Yeah.
does, with the information that we provide to them in the next couple of
And
weeks.
the power of voices, it's really a neat thing to watch in our democracy when people speak up.
Well, and it's a situation that had come up in 2005, but because the town was over 10% after the Pembroke Woods
Of affordable
apartment
housing,
complex,
right? Because
we
the town
were-
has to have 10%?
If you're over 10%, you can pretty much nix
Anything.
any
Yep.
project. Because we fell under 10% with the 2010 census, because the town grew.
Yep.
And there's a base number that the census has, that the Department of Housing and Community Development goes by, and that because we grew
Yeah.
as a community from 2000 to 2010, then
no
our
longer-
our
yeah.
10% number
Okay.
went from 10.75 to 9.65, something
Okay,
like
so
that.
this is definitely to be continued.
Absolutely.
Okay, and in our last half a minute, let's talk a little bit about the project that's going on to take a look at the planning for the new police station and fire station and moving around. Where does that stand right now?
Well, last town meeting, appropriated $50,000 for us to enter into a contract with a firm that specializes in space needs studies for public safety buildings. And we entered into that contract this winter, and they have started their surveys. And whether it's talking with both the chiefs and with the personnel and looking at the buildings themselves. And we're hoping that they're going to make a presentation at the annual town meeting in May.
In May, yep.
And then we'll just go from there. It depends on what their report comes up with.
Great. So that'll be an interesting presentation.
Oh, yeah, that's
okay.
going to be a process for the next couple of years.
Right. So we'll have you back, and we'll talk about that in probably 4 to 6 weeks.
All right.
All
Look
right,
forward
sounds
to
good.
it.
Thank you. And thank you for watching this week's show. You can watch it again on PACTV's Prime channel, found at pactv.org, or catch PCN on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on social media for previews and additional information. See you next week for an expanded version of PCN Life. Have a great week, everyone.